River on the west, a landmass greater than the Roman Empire at the height of its power. Called the Iroquois by the Europeans, they are the Haudenosaunee, the people of the Longhouse, and their homelands at the time of early European contact extended beyond what is now upstate New York. In the course of time, the Indians saw their land gradually taken away. Despite treaties and agreements with the Six Nation Confederacy, the United States government encouraged the spread of white people into the Indians' lands. But at no time were the people of the Longhouse conquered in war as were their western brothers, nor have they relinquished their claim to their original homelands. The story of the Onondagas, the fire keepers of the Confederacy, once stretched over 18 million acres, from the Pennsylvania border to the St. Lawrence River. 200 years later, only 7,000 acres remain in their reserve just south of Syracuse. The white man's government has not seen fit to stop there, but this time it is being challenged. In 1956, the Onondaga Nation allowed the state of New York to build a 4-lane highway, Route 81, through the reservation. Early in the spring of 1971, without informing or consulting the Onondagas, the state began widening the existing road through the reservation. The Indians demanded an explanation, but it took from March until mid-May before any transportation department official would sit down and talk with them about the additional lanes. All the while, the road work continued. A lull in the discussions occurred from June through mid-August, and still construction went on. By August 17th, the gravel bed had been laid in preparation for a third lane of concrete adjoining the southbound lanes. But the road work was stopped when many of the Onondagas put themselves in front of the machinery. On August 22nd, officials from the State Transportation Department met with the Council of Chiefs in the Longhouse, but nothing decisive was agreed upon. In September, a temporary injunction was issued against the nation, prohibiting them from interfering with the construction on their land. The Indians ignored it. In October, the state tried a different approach. It offered first money, then more money and land in exchange for the land along the highway. In both instances, the Council of Chiefs rejected their offer, stating they did not want money, only that their lands not be further violated.
Right. And it's just different now. We realize that there's so many things that we have to resist. You know, we started with 16 million acres. Now we've got just a little over 7,000. And still, they're still trying to take the last 7,000. People wonder, like this transportation department, they say, well, what do you people want? You know, what do you want? Geez, we've given you everything. Well, what else do you want? And they can't understand that all we want is to be left alone. You see, I went out, I graduated from Syracuse. I have 2 degrees up there. I was successful out in a white society. I had a $35,000 home. But that isn't important to me. I now live right up here. I live in a little house right up here, and I'm very happy. And all I want to be is I want to be left alone. I want to preserve this land so that my son can use it, and so his son can use it, and his son can use it. I don't want cement over my land where my kids won't be able to play in the grass. That's all I want. We won't compromise with them, I know that. We won't sell for money, or we won't trade for land, because it's principle. I could never stand among those people, those other Indians, if we would sell for 25,000 or 7,000. We could never do that. But if in the end, if something does go wrong, and if they do get to build that lane, they're going to build it. They're going to have to move me physically off from it, so that I'll be able to walk among the people again and just say, well, I didn't sell it to them. I didn't compromise. They took it by force from me. That's the only way that I'm going to continue that way. And that's the way all the Indians feel too.
In mid-October, the state said it would drop the plans to build an acceleration lane. The Indians had always stated that for the safety of the public, the shoulder for the existing lanes of traffic should be rebuilt. But when the Transportation Department returned with the equipment, it prepared to build a 12-foot reinforced shoulder, 2 feet wider than a normal lane of highway. The Indians were forced to halt construction again. On October 22nd, Indians as far away as California and New Mexico gathered with non-Indian supporters from neighboring communities at Onondaga. Several hundred people went to the site to prevent further construction of the highway. Later that day, Regional Director of the Transportation Department, Earl Tolson, met with the chiefs at the site.
Let me get some points here clear
Have
now.
you got one up here under that
Just
bridge
wait a
up
minute.
here?
I don't
Chief,
know, but could you please hold it 1 second here? Now, because when these people discuss the problem, I want a number of things established. First of all, that you are giving us the assurance that you are not building a road.
Right.
No question about it.
No question about it.
And the second thing now is that they're going to discuss that this is a shoulder, and within the extent of our discussion that you're going to work. And the moment they give you that assurance, you start working right away on that thing.
Immediately.
Right.
6'5". Stabilized shoulder, 6'5". The rest of the gravel out.
9.5.
9'5".
That's what they are asking. Now we're going to give them what we want to give
Right.
them.
All right.
This is not official. This is what I got to turn back to the chief.
That's right, and I have to turn it back to my superiors.
You don't have no chief.
Well, he has a chief there.
He does.
The governor is brother Seneca.
Why don't you send the governor
Brother.
down here? Well, we talk to him.
He's busy.
Too busy, huh?
He's trying to pass the bond issue.
Yeah,
Well,
put another road in.
The governor will be prejudiced because he's an Indian. He's an adopted Indian.
Yeah.
So that's why he wants to be neutral. If he comes here, he will side with the Indians. So he wants to remain neutral.
That'll be the day.
We're waiting for the chiefs. We're waiting on the chiefs.
And we'll give you our decision.
Yes, sir. When?
As soon as I get the chiefs together.
Today.
Right.
It'll be today.
And I will call Albany right now.
And I'll be here to watch that you dig the rest of the blacktop
Now,
out.
we're gonna be.
After Tolson checked with his superiors, the group adjourned to the Longhouse to put the agreement in writing.
Homer.
Yeah, it is hereby agreed by and between the chiefs of the Council of the Onondaga Indians and the Department of Transportation that for the safety of the public and without prejudice to the respective positions of the parties regarding the present dispute on Route 81 on the Onondaga Indian Reservation, the Department of Transportation will resume work on reconstruction of shoulders on existing lanes of traffic within the Onondaga Reservation in accordance with the following terms. 1. The lane of 6.5 feet of stabilizing material, 4 inches in thickness, and a lane of an additional 3 feet of gravel extending to the guide rail and sloping down on a 1 on 2 slope. 2. The width of the shoulder will not exceed 9.5 feet. 3. The shoulder shall not be used or extended to be used in any shape or manner as a third lane highway. 4. In any matter involving the reconstruction of highways within the Onondaga Reservation, the Department of Transportation will consult and seek the consent of the Onondaga Council of Chiefs or on all stages of said construction or reconstruction, excluding minor maintenance on existing highways within the Onondaga Reservation. 5th, the Department of Transportation will discontinue with prejudice any action or proceeding now pending in any court arising from the present dispute involving Route 81 in which the Onondaga Nation is a party. 6. Neither party is contemplating bringing any new action in court regarding this dispute, and this agreement intended to settle all issues arising from the present
controversy.
controversy.
That sounds all right.
All right?
Good.
All right. Now, right now, and then we, yeah.
Now, are you going to have this typed up, or you want
Yeah,
me
I'm going to have it typed. You sign it here, and then we'll have it typed out. This will be the original. We'll keep it here in a historical document.
Keep it in a museum.
Yes.
But the next morning, Saturday, October the 23rd, injunctions were again posted on the Onondaga land.
They have no right whatsoever to come and give us an injunction. It's just like going to Canada and putting an injunction up there and saying to the people in Canada, you have no right to stop the United States or New York State from putting a highway in there. How would they feel? This is the same way we feel by coming on our territory. We are going back to the treaties and the agreements. We have not lied to these people, but they have used trickery. They have lied to us. They have not been honest. These are the very things that are happening today, which have been happening in the past 400 years since the white man first set foot on here. Now, I'd like to state a little more. I'm not saying this to all the white people. Don't get me wrong. We have a lot of white people supporters, and I appreciate this for all those that are helping us. But I am only stating this thing about the state. I believe that they have no jurisdiction whatsoever to take us into courts. They state that they have an injunction, and that was the first time we went in there. So we went in every possible avenue to see whether or not the state or the courts would at least be lenient enough at this time of 1972 would at least give some kind of justice to the Indian. We thought maybe at least they would be fair. We tried every avenue, and we could see right then and there that we went to 3 courts, from the state into the federal. From the federal, they threw it back out of the federal into the state again. And the judge there had already made his mind up. So therefore, we feel that there is no justice for the Indian. We are going to stand here on our territory. This is our territory. This is our land. We are going to stand here and fight. And this is, well, I'd like not to say fight, but we'll see exactly what is happening.
Supporters returned to Onondaga to prevent construction. A copy of the illegal injunction was publicly burned.
In my mind, this confrontation was to come regardless of how much talking we did, regardless of how many things the state promised us this was going to come to be anyway, because they never intended not to build a highway. That's why we're here right now.
Well, suppose they give up now, come back, what are you going to do then?
Personally, I can't talk for the nation now, but I'll tell you, if you say they give up, I don't believe they ever give up. I'll never trust the state of New York on this highway again, never, because of the things they've done so far.
And now all we're saying is, don't cover up any more of our land. Right under your feet where you are standing, there are roots, berries, and things, and that bring the happiness and bring the health to the Onondaga people. And what does the white man want to do? He wants to cover those things. He wants to extinguish this thing here that the Indian still has. What he has a 2x4 Indian reservation here left to walk on, and we're still being violated at this late date. And so all we ask, we want this thing to be peaceful. We are peaceful people. We like you, and we wish that you would like us a little better. Tell your representatives to lean toward more on the peaceful side.
Waiting until people like her to leave. Are you fully on Indian land right now? No. We don't want to get drawn into that, you know, be sure you...
Although the Construction Workers Union took a position backing the Indians, One crewman did show up and was blocked from driving his machine further onto Indian land. Chief engineer for the Route 81 construction project, Charles Kerr, attempted to distribute papers at the site.
Don't take any papers. You step on the reserve, you're in trouble. Don't let it on the reserve like we're doing the machine.
The warriors brought a log from the nearby woods to mark the boundary of the reserve and to prevent any future attempt to drive machinery onto their territory. No other attempts have been made to continue work at the site. The chiefs went to Syracuse the following Thursday to meet privately with Governor Rockefeller about the dispute. Supporters were on hand outside the hotel where the meeting took place. Among them was Dr. James Egan, National Vice President of the National Conference of Christians and Jews, who came to Syracuse to present Rockefeller with resolutions in support of the Indians.
The Indians, after all, have treaty rights, in this case signed by George Washington, and that if we find it necessary to observe our treaty commitments in Southeast Asia, maybe we ought to observe the treaty commitments George Washington made right here in New York State. They feel that New York State is just giving another evidence of racism in its whole policy toward the Indians, that for a long time both the state and federal government have followed a policy of genocide, and that this is just one final symbol of where the state, influenced pretty largely probably by the truckers' lobby, finds it necessary to take more and more land.
For the Chiefs.
Do you have any position on the government, on the Indians?
Nancy, nice to see you. You look great.
Any position on the Indians?
Yeah, I'm all for the Indians. I want to tell you. Glad to see you. I appreciate your helping them. Good. Best of luck to you. Okay, best of luck.
We appreciate this, man. It's very one stock.
Best of luck. Thanks.
Go power to the people.
Five of the 14 sachems met with Governor Rockefeller and with the usual Indian dignity presented their case. After 40 minutes in closed discussion, the governor emerged to face reporters.
It is very clear that the basic problem comes from the fact that the Indian tribes do not recognize the laws of the state, and that their laws are different. And the state has not recognized the tribal laws, and therefore there's been a conflict. The case is in the courts. However, the chiefs, in the most cooperative spirit here, have stated that they feel that if representatives of the state come to the Longhouse, that they have now worked out among their chiefs, their leaders in their tribal conferences, a solution which will meet both their problems and the problems of the state, because they have the same concern for the safety on the highways which we do. And therefore I've agreed that without prejudice to the case in the court, that I will send our representatives to meet with them in the Longhouse, and I'm hopeful that a solution will be mutually agreed to that will be satisfactory from all points of view.
That meeting never took place. The courts took over, and after a legal hassle that lasted through November and December, Supreme Court Justice James P. O'Donnell, reversing his earlier decision, ruled on December 19th that the state of New York has no right of eminent domain through Onondaga land, and that the state of cannot sue the Onondaga Nation without its consent. This ruling voided all previous injunctions and reaffirmed the sovereignty of the Haudenosaunee, the Six Nation Confederacy. The State Transportation Department followed this decision with a notice of appeal.